Wild like my daddy, but straightforward like my mama. Drink like granddad, smoke sluggies like the other. But granddad feels the guts. Hustler like my uncle JT and cousin Big B. I got big dreams like Jimmy Lee. Now my name is different if my daily beans. Keep a job like Uncle Kevin told me. Top notch player like Dave. And that caddy thing since the 80s slab.
If you just hopping on, let me know in the comment section so I can say hello to you.
Hot head wasn't scared to get money or leave the beats to see. Play me like I'm a pawn in the game. Chess jokes to like Big Kenny.
Hey, what's up here? Hey, sister cuz, looking forward to seeing y'all real soon.
Like my granny, chuckling, giggling, hunching my shoulders like my daddy's and the lead. Routed like them Tyson seeds, spiritual like rewards. A go-getter like Arian, a religious romantic career like no one, you know.
Y'all been on my mind today, especially since I know it's a lot going on with Ray being in the hospital, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Darian's birthday. You can let me know if I'm correct about that. So he's definitely been on my mind today. Alright, we're gonna get this going momentarily. Oh, both my sister cousins are on here. Appreciate that. Hey, champions, welcome to tonight's edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. It's yours truly, Arian Tyson. I am in my office here in the STL, and it is an honor to be back before you. It's actually been a couple weeks. I was intending on doing the podcast last Tuesday, but I actually had something come up where I was part of a meeting, so to speak, that actually ran a little longer than I anticipated, so that I wasn't able to hop on. But I didn't want to go 2 weeks without not doing a podcast, and I'm not feeling the best. But as I was telling my mother earlier today, and I even made a Facebook post about it, if I can give a message at church like I did on Sunday, and then if I can get out and go to my job when the wind chill was negative 20 this morning, if I can do all that, which at the present moment is something I'm obligated to do, then I can do something that I love, that I've been doing for over a year now. So thank you so much for hopping on. And because I have certain family members on, I'm going to let them know while they're watching. One of our family members actually inspired the topic for tonight. And that would be my cousin Ray. And the reason being is because I know that he is recovering right now. He's had sickness attack his body. And if someone was watching or someone was observing from the outside in, they would say that he's in the fight for his life. And so that's the topic for tonight. You must fight for your life. You must fight for your life. And, you know, that particular branch of my family has been on my mind recently. And before I dive in, like I always do around this time, you know, I got to plug my book. I have to plug it. And so, first off, thank you to everyone who has ordered their book, who has read their book, and even those who are waiting on their book. Well, I got news for you. Today, I got a box. See this? This is full of books that just came in today. So I got some books I need to sign. and some books I need to deliver and some books I need to hand out. So they're coming. For those who have already ordered this particular shipment, that particular box is actually sold out. But I have a second shipment coming within the next 5 days. And as of right now, that shipment, believe it or not, is not actually sold out yet. But me knowing me, it's going to be sold out by the time it arrives. So if you have not gotten your book, which is Love Me or Hate Me, My Journey from Motivation to Elevation, I would highly recommend that you do it. And I'm thankful to those who have left me reviews on Amazon. You can actually go to Amazon.com and check out the reviews. And I checked today, and my rating on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I'm like right at 4.8 stars. So I'm just thankful for that. I'm going to give you a reason, and I'm thankful that your mother has not said it, but since you're watching, I'm going to give you an additional reason why it's time for you to get the book. There is a dedication page, and then there are special acknowledgments. There's a lot of acknowledgments, but I'm going to point out acknowledgments specifically. I acknowledge a group that I have affectionately referred to publicly as the Trouble Squad. For those who don't know. Now, I know that Aunt Wanda knows because she has the book. But in case you were not aware, I give the Trouble Squad special acknowledgement in this book. And that would consist of Danielle, Dennis, Brandy, Donald, Monica, Weema, Kurt, Kelly, and Ray. So you've actually been acknowledged in this book, whether you were aware of it or not. So on top of us being family, you're acknowledged. So with that being said, let's dive in. But if you have not done so, you can get a copy of the book at www.lovemeorhateme.org. Again, that's www.lovemeorhateme.org. And for those who actually order the book through that particular site instead of going on Amazon, I'm signing each and every single book. That's why it's taking a minute for people to get their books, because I'm actually hand signing them. And I'm not just putting my signature, I'm actually leaving personal messages specific to whomever the book is for. So I figure I would make that plug because it's my book and I can do what I want to do. So having said all that, let's dive in. And so, again, the topic is you must fight for your life. And I want to share with you some things that I've thought about, even in my own life. For many years, I thought I was living, but I was just merely existing until life punched me in the mouth. And so I realized that there are some things that you're going to have to do in order for your life to turn around. And I'm going to share with you some things that you must do, and also share some things that I've learned along the way. And I'm going to do this in about 20 minutes. Keep it short, because I did give like a 10-minute intro and shout out and plug my book and so on and so forth. So let's dive in. The first thing that you must do is that you have to develop the mindset that you must grind now and shine later. I'm going to say that again. You must grind now and shine later. If you want things in your life to change, You can't do the same things that you're accustomed to doing. You can't go to every party. You can't go to every basketball or football or baseball game. And I say baseball because I'm in St. Louis, so this is a baseball city through and through. You can't go to every game. You can't go to every concert. And believe it or not, I actually bypassed last year, and my pastor can confirm this if you do not believe me. In September, when I was actually writing this book silently, Johnny Gill was in St. Louis. Now, normally, I would be one of the first people there. I would be one of the first people to grab my ticket. But instead of going to that show on that Friday down in Ballpark Village, I was actually at Bible study on purpose. Yes, I bypassed a Johnny Gill concert because we were in the midst of a fast as a church family. And I was in the process, I had just started writing this book. And that's what a lot of people don't know. It did not take me a long time to write this book. It did not. Because once I finally made the decision that it's time for the story to be told, it is time for me to share my truth, then that meant that I had to do some things different. I had to do some things that if someone found out afterwards, they'd have looked at me like I was crazy, or they'd have looked at me like, okay, is something wrong with you? Have you lost your mind? Or were you sick that day? Because you're not missing anything New Edition for nothing. Well, there was one thing that I missed on purpose. I was in the process of writing this book. And what I'm saying is, when you want something, when you're hungering after something, there are certain things you're going to have to give up now so that you can shine later. So that means you're going to have to grind now and shine later. Why? Because you're fighting for your life. And if you're not fighting for your life, that means that you're existing and you're really not living. And that's something that it took me a long time to gather, a long time to realize that I wasn't living. I was doing everything that everybody expected me to do. You know, I was the goody good in my family. You know, I did everything that everybody expected me to do. And it caused a little resentment in my family. It caused a little resentment because even my brothers will tell you that, especially with me being the youngest, and that really didn't, you know, work in my favor either, because as the youngest child, you are accused of getting away with murder. Or they say, oh, you could get away, or he could get away with murder, or she could get away with murder. That's what it's always been. So that didn't work in my favor. But when you want something, you have to change, you have to switch stuff up, because it's worth it in the end. Sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do to get where you want to be. And that's where it comes into grinding now so you can shine later. That's point number one. Point number two, you have to realize something. Because one thing that I've noticed about people that I've grown up with, friends especially, is that certain friends put me on a pedestal. And I hated being put on a pedestal, because every man is flawed. Every woman is flawed. No, I didn't do everything that most people do. But the fact is, I found myself on this proverbial pedestal to where people thought I was as close to perfect as possible. I remember I was working this job, and I'm not going to say who the person was, but one person said they wouldn't date me because they thought I was too perfect. Like, who does that? Like, why would you tell somebody that? And then what does that really mean? But anyway, which brings me to this point. Making mistakes is better than faking perfections. I'm going to say it again. Making mistakes is better than faking perfections. And the thing is, I grew a respect for people who were willing to make certain mistakes. And when you're willing to make certain mistakes, that means that you're acknowledging that you're not perfect. You're acknowledging that you don't have it all together. You're acknowledging that you're not holier than thou. You're acknowledging that there are some things that you need to learn along the journey. And you're willing to listen. That's what that means. And so what I love about my book, and I'm gonna brag on myself when it comes to this book, because I put my heart in this book. I share certain mistakes. I share certain lessons, and I share the things that it taught me, because life has punched me in the mouth. Life, as Langston Hughes said, life has not been a crystal stair. It has not. But the thing about it is, it helped me gain the respect of a lot of people while pushing several people away. And that's okay, because as you ascend, as you elevate, as I like to say, hence motivation, elevation, as you elevate, you can't take everybody with you. Everybody's not meant to go with you. No matter if you've known them 5 months or 5 years or 50 years, everybody's not meant to go with you. Everybody that you think is going to support you won't support you. You can't believe, even though I'm blessed to say that my book has been purchased by individuals in 12 states already, including Washington, D.C. There are a lot of people that have not even said congratulations. I'm finding out there are people that are just now realizing that I wrote a book. And I know we see, especially on Facebook, you see posts talking about how Facebook has changed their algorithm and so on and so forth. And I was saying to myself, maybe that's the case. But unless you just have unfollowed me, so to speak, since October, the main thing I've been talking about is this book. So it's kind of hard for me to believe you if you say that you didn't know that I had a book out. It's kind of hard for me. It's not impossible, but it's kind of hard for me to believe, because that's what I've been talking about. That was the biggest accomplishment for me in 2017 was releasing this book, and even did a Facebook Live where I blessed my mother with the very first copy of the book, and she was crying, because she knew that I wanted to write a book. She didn't know that it was completed. And the fact that I wrote a book in 45 days says something, and it's not like it's 50 pages. It's over 100. It's almost 140 pages. So to be able to just release and share my truth and share things that I've learned along the way while sharing significant events that have happened in my life, is something that I'm proud of. But it got me to a point where you don't have to be ashamed to talk about your mistakes. You don't have to be ashamed to talk about some things that you wanted to go one way, but then all of a sudden life took it in a different direction. And the book chronicles it. So it's something I'm proud of. Which brings me to the third point. Adversity breeds success. I'm going to say it again. Adversity breeds success. Anybody that's successful in life has had some type of adversity. And I know that, for example, I'm going to use Michael Jordan just because last night I was watching the documentary on the bad boy Detroit Pistons that ESPN did a couple years ago. They did a 30 for 30 special on the bad boys. And so even with the bad boy Detroit Pistons, they encountered adversity to finally become champions of the basketball world. They had to go through my Boston Celtics, which they kept falling short. They kept falling short, and then they finally were able to get past them. Then they had to go past the Los Angeles Lakers, Magic Johnson and Showtime and those fellas. And I remember one of the circumstances where it was like game 6, and Isaiah Thomas, he twisted his ankle, and his ankle swelled up to the size of a golf ball. And he basically played with one leg and was giving them the business. But he fell just short. And then he couldn't play at all in game 7, and the Lakers end up winning the championship. And then Michael Jordan was coming, and they realized that Jordan was great, but he needed some help. And so Jordan had to figure out how to combat the Pistons. So they came up with the Jordan rules, so to speak, on how to defend Michael Jordan. So when they found out that they couldn't defend Michael Jordan, they had to make sure that Scottie Pippen didn't get going. And so they were able to beat the Bulls on a couple of occasions. But then once Scottie came into his own, the Pistons got swept. And then that's when the Bulls went on and won 6 championships later. And the rest is history. But they had to overcome adversity. No true success comes without adversity. Even with me writing my book, there was adversity. There was a lot of adversity. And I talk a lot about what happened to me in 2016. It was the worst year of my life by a landslide. It's not even close. It's not even close. Everything that it was like I couldn't buy a break in 2016. And then to see myself experience everything that happened in 2017. Because of how I handled myself, because how I realized that how you respond to adversity privately plays a part in how God blesses you openly, led to all the success in 2017, led to the book being written, and led to, partnerships that are forming in 2018 that I can't really talk about right now. But being that I'm someone who has a story to tell when it comes to forgiveness, all I'm going to say right now is be on the lookout for something pertaining forgiveness. That's all I'm going to say about it right now. That's all I can say. But it's coming, and it's going to be a blessing to a lot of people. Because I'm not just stopping with my book. Because it's more, I got more books in me. So I just want to make sure I make that clear. 2 more things and then I'm done. When I think about what has happened, when I think about storms that have come in my life, decisions that I thought about making, I realized this. And this is the 4th point. God will wreck your plans when he sees that your plans are about to wreck you. I'm going to say it again. God will wreck your plans. God will wreck your plans when he sees that your plans are about to wreck you. And not to get, churchy or whatever, but when I think about Jeremiah 29:11, where it talks about, for I know the plans that, for I know the plans that God has for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. That means something. That resonates. That's something that's very important to understand, because we have plans, and I'm a planner. So when life punched me in the mouth in 2016, and when life undoubtedly will punch us in the mouth, we have a tendency from time to time to become our own worst critic. We beat ourselves up when plans that we've laid out don't go our way. But we have to realize that God has a better plan. And God already knows the decisions that we're going to make before we actually make them. And that's something I've come to realize. And so sometimes, thanks to grace and mercy, God will wreck our plans when he sees that certain plans are about to wreck us. And so I've learned to cope, and I've learned to accept things even when I don't have the answers I'm humanly looking for. And again, I'm referring to 2016, because a lot of things happened in 2016. I will never understand why 1 minute I saw my father alive, it was for my birthday, and then the very next time I see my father's body, I'm standing over it and he's lifeless. I will never understand that. My father died 6 days after my birthday. I will never understand that. But maybe according to God, it was necessary, because anybody know me know I love my dad. I love my father. That's my man. That's my hero. And then for him to be gone just like that, when we were sitting up talking about plans for his 65th birthday and he never lived to see 65. See, when stuff like that happens, you have to realize that you have to make every second count. You have to make life count for something. And so you don't have as much time as you think you do, because life will undoubtedly, if you're not careful, life will bring you to your knees. And in 2016, I found myself on my knees more than I had been in a long time. If I can be transparent tonight, I had never found myself on my knees as much as I was in 2016. It was a nightmare. It was hard. I never cried so much as I did in 2016. And then I never cried so many tears of joy that I did in 2017, even after a certain chapter in my life was coming to an end. That's what you have to understand. So be thankful for the things that happen in your life, because when certain things happen out of the ordinary, you realize why it's important that every day you are in a fight. You have to fight for your right to live. You have to fight for your right to be able to make an impact, to be a blessing to someone else. Someone is waiting to hear from you. Someone is waiting to hear your story. Do you realize that you are assigned to someone? You are assigned to a group of people, whether it's male or female. There are certain people that you can only resonate with. And I don't care how articulate I may come off, but once someone hears your story, it will push them into action. And the very reason it will do that is because they're assigned to you. The question is, are you operate or are you on assignment? Are you on assignment? Are you on the right assignment? And then finally, as I wrap up, after you realize that it's important to grind now and so you can shine later, and after you realize that making mistakes is better than faking perfections. And after you realize that adversity breeds success, and then after you realize that God will wreck your plans when he sees that your plans are about to wreck you, you realize that your time is now. That's the final point. When you realize that you're in the fight for your life, you realize that your time is now. You don't have time to convince people. You don't have time to realize that you don't have time to convince people that they need to do A, B, and C. You're too busy fighting for your life to worry about stuff that don't matter. You get to a place in space where certain stuff you don't care about anymore. You realize that when you're in the fight for your life, there are certain conversations you just won't entertain anymore. There are certain places you just won't go anymore. There are certain things and certain situations you just won't find yourself in anymore. That's what it boils down to. That's what it has to amount to. And yes, you can love people, but there are times where you got to learn to love people from a distance. And trust me when I tell you this, as I wrap this up. When you step out on faith and you do something that you've never done before, you really find out who's supporting you when you ask them to invest in you financially versus people who are just giving lip service. Because people can tell you they love you all day long. People can tell you that they're happy for you all day long. But people start to act real funny when it comes to you asking them to spend money with you. You've done all the legwork. You put the work in. You've made the sacrifices. And now you're looking for the payoff. And you realize and your eyes start to open that to the point that everybody that says that they support you don't. But here's one thing that you'll learn. And take it from me. As an author, as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, sometimes your friends and family won't support you until they see strangers uplifting you. You got to get over the shock or the disappointment that your friends and your family won't always be the first ones to support you. Now, when it comes to this book, my family was the one that supported me first. My family, my godmother, who's watching, was the very first person to pre-order my book. So I had my family support. And my mom was the one that got the first copy of the book. So I had my family support. But certain friends that you know, that you spent money with, that you brought bread with, certain friends that have called you family to your face, that they looked you square in the eye and said that you're their bro or you're their sis, and then you come up with something of your own, and they can't even say congratulations to you. Take it as a lesson learned and push forward anyhow, because you're fighting for your life. You're fighting for the legacy that you have been assigned to leave. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I've learned. And there are times it's going to hurt. But it's necessary, because rest assured, just like you don't see them supporting you, best believe they're watching you as they're seeing the success pile up. And when they decide to say something, you got a couple options then. You can be the bigger person and just say thanks and keep it moving. Or if they catch you at a certain point, you can decide to be a little petty and call them out on it. So it just depends on how you are at the moment. But nevertheless, you don't have to apologize for it. And the reason being is because you're being honest and you're being your authentic self. And that's what is required. That is what is necessary. Because by you being authentic, you're separating yourself from everybody else, because there are a lot of people. There are a lot of fake people. There are a lot of people who are walking around acting like they're one thing, and behind closed doors, they are something totally different. Do you realize that there are more filters on Facebook than anywhere, because Facebook is the largest social media site. So those same filters that you see on Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, yeah, people are wearing more masks than those filters that they put on their faces. If you can't say amen, say ouch. But having said all that, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much to everyone who has taken time out of their schedule to hop on. I trust that something I said tonight gave you something to think about, that it was something substantial and of value to you. And, I ask that you keep me in your prayers, because again, I'm not feeling 100%, even though some people might be saying I can't tell, but I'm really not feeling 100% right now. But I know God to be a healer. And also, please keep my older cousin Ray in your prayers, because the enemy is attacking his body right now. And because he's a husband and a father, he got some people depending on him right now. And so, but we're touching and agreeing that God is a healer. And I'm going to be down in Dallas, where they are, real soon for my birthday. And, I'm declaring he's going to be 100% before then. And so, I'm looking forward to that, and being able to see a city I haven't seen, and being able to spend time with my family, because they always come here, but this is my first time going there. So that's something I'm looking forward to. So having said all that, thank you so much. I'm going to call this a night. Again, if you have not already done so, make sure you order a copy of my new book, Love Me or Hate Me, My Journey from Motivation to Elevation. It is available at www.lovemeorhateme.org. Again, that's www.lovemeorhateme.org. And then also check the reviews on the book on Amazon. All you got to do is type my name in and the book pops up. And so, with that being said, as always, in life, you have two choices. You can make moves or you can make excuses, but you most certainly cannot do both. It's yours truly, Arian Tyson, the Moving Motivator, signing off. Peace.